Oh, welcome into Snow The Goalie. We are live at Chickie's and Pete's in Warrington. Listen to the crowd, the raucous crowd in Warrington. On what was, if we're being honest, I think when we looked at the schedule this year, we said, guys, when April 15th rolls around in Warrington, it'll be our last show of the year. We will mentally prepare ourselves for maybe some draft talk down the line and get ready to preview the playoffs, which we did not expect the Flyers to be in. Kind of. We sort of went back and forth on whether or not it was going to happen. And guys, I dressed the way that I expected the Flyers to be dressing, which is preparing for a trip to Cancun. You got the flamingos on, too.
I went flamingos today, yeah.
I would say you got more of a Magnum PI look.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. I'll take it. Anyway, we are here, and the season's not over. Oh, no. One could argue that it's just beginning. It's just beginning because this weekend, those dastardly Pittsburgh Penguins, which, yes, we are booing. Good. Those Penguins take on your Flyers. The Battle of the Keystone State, a rivalry that was once must-see TV, fell by the wayside, and now all of a sudden, it feels like it is very much coming back. Guys, how are we feeling? Bundy, I want to start with you.
I'm feeling great. I mean, it's what a great finish to the season. I mean, Monday night was just an epic game. I mean, the fans were the building was the loudest I've heard it maybe since I played. I going back out. I mean, that was unbelievable, and the excitement around the city, excitement around the team, and in the building the other night was magnificent. And a big win last night against Montreal. But I'm feeling good as they head into the playoffs. I mean, they're a team that's young. They got nothing to lose, and they've done some really great things the last 2 months. Entering the playoffs as one of the NHL's hottest teams. So I think they have a lot to look forward to this spring.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup against the Penguins. I think you have two teams with varying strengths and weaknesses. And ultimately, when I look at it, Russ, I think it's going to be a longer series. But right now, in doing some analysis of it, I think that I'm leaning more towards the Flyers because I look at it and say they have the one thing that the Penguins do not have that wins in the playoffs, and that's goaltending. Yep. Whereas the Pittsburgh Penguins goalie, Stuart Skinner, we've seen in the past, like there's a reason the Edmonton Oilers don't have a Stanley Cup right now. And it was because they didn't have any good goaltending in the playoffs, right? I mean, that's the ultimate reason. And now he's with Pittsburgh, and that's who they're going to try and rely on. And the Flyers got to get traffic in front of him. They've got to keep up the whole notion of getting bodies to the front of the net and getting shots on goal. The addition of Martone and the return of Tyson Forster, those are the two biggest things to me that swing this back to the Flyers because they do those things. They do the things that you need to do to make life difficult on Skinner and on the Penguins defense. And then secondarily, the Flyers have to avoid penalties as best they can because you don't want to put Pittsburgh on the power play. They have a good power play. Flyers penalty kill is not great. So avoid penalties. Get traffic to the net and harass Stuart Skinner. You win this series.
I'm actually more bullish on this than you. I'm not going to tell you it's a sweep. I'm not going to say it's a gentleman's sweep, but I think that there's a non-zero chance this thing is wrapped up in 6 games at worst.
Well, I just said
I think
6
5,
or 7.
I think 5 is actually in play. I really do. I'll tell you why I think 5's in play. I'll tell you why. Because I'm looking at momentum, and I'm looking at young, fresh legs, and I'm looking at a team that truly does feel like they have everything right behind them.
Yeah, but don't underestimate what's happened in Pittsburgh this year. Like, keep that in mind. I mean, this isn't just some ancient, decrepit Pittsburgh team that backed their way into the playoffs. Like, Kyle Dubas did a really nice job as the general manager there this year. Got some great performances out of players that you never would have expected. For all the people that picked the Flyers to finish in the bottom of the standings, there were just as many, if not more, who picked the Penguins to finish at the bottom of the standings, and they finished in second. Okay, so they deserve as much credit as the Flyers do for being here, for the stuff that they've done. So don't just underestimate that because the Flyers are playing great hockey right now. Pittsburgh's still a decent team. So I don't think it's and I don't know what you think, Bundy. I don't know if you think it's an easier path coming through these games. Or not, or if you think Pittsburgh poses a little bit of a challenge.
Well, I think anytime you've got guys like Crosby on your team, he hasn't had playoff in a while, and guys like Malkin, even they're older guys, and I mean, I can't believe the last time they met was in was it 2018, and now the same core the same three guys are still the same core in Pittsburgh, right? Now they've expanded that a little bit. They've got some other young guys that have really taken some steps this year. It's again reminds me a little bit of Washington last year, where every move the GM made, and maybe not too far off of Philadelphia too, where the GM in 1 year, everything that you've gotten here is paid off. And that's what happened with Washington last year, and I think a little bit with both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh this year. Totally different dynamics than what we've seen in the past, but it's worked. And those teams have improved gradually and thoroughly through the course of the season.
Special teams are going to play a huge role in this one.
Huge. I mean, Pittsburgh's got one of the best power plays in the league. I'm not a big regular season momentum guy into the playoffs. If you go back to last year, remember how well Tampa finished the season? Yep. And they lost to Florida in the first round. And we thought Tampa was going to go right through them like tissue paper. Yep. And it just didn't happen. So. No, I always believe there's a clean slate as you enter the playoffs for the games that you're about to play. But also, the Flyers have a good makeup of players that have played really well of late, and they want to continue down that same trajectory.
I think the thing that I keep looking to is this power play that the Flyers possess has been so atrocious all year. If they were to just not fully catch fire, but even put a remotely competent power play out in a first-round series, that's what makes me think that this thing could end a little bit earlier than expected.
If they could put a remotely competent power play together, you're talking about more than just beating Pittsburgh.
Correct.
You're talking a little bit more than that. I'm not certain that they can do that, and I'm not certain that the coaching staff thinks that they can do that. I mean, you heard Talk the other day say, yeah, we're going to address the power play in the summer. I know what we got to do, but it's not something we can kind of fix in the moment, right? Like, I think that's a thing. Like, you just cross your fingers and you kind of hope. You hope the Martones of the world make a little bit of a difference, and the Forsters of the world make a little bit of a difference, right? Obviously, you start anew. Everybody's 0 for 0 on the power play right now in the playoffs. So you kind of hope that you could not be 16th. Can you be 10th? Can you rank 10th out of the 16? That would help. Yeah, that would help if you can get to that on the power play.
15.7% on the season.
Yeah. Dude, how about that? Even worse, 4 of the last 5 years dead last in the league.
Yeah,
that should never happen.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's hard to do that. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And yet, despite the fact that the power play has been this bad, we're talking about potential. We're talking about a potential first-round playoff series win.
Yeah,
we're talking about a team that many people wrote off. I was one of the people who wrote them off.
I saw the Boston Bruins win the Stanley Cup in 2011 with a 10% power play.
Yeah.
Right through the playoffs.
No, they were a different level team.
They were, but right. I mean, they had Chara and they had some other guys.
They were heavy.
Team. They were heavy.
They were a heavy team.
But still, I'm just telling you, it didn't mean a whole lot to them back then.
No, it didn't. It did, but they were winning games 2-1.
Right. They didn't give up a lot. Good
great goaltending with
Thomas.
Yeah, Tim Thomas was great goaltending. Defense was awesome. So yes, certainly it could be done. There are exceptions to every rule. There's no doubt about it.
Let's lean into the great goaltending, though.
Yeah.
The guy who clearly was the MVP of the season for this team, and it wasn't even close. I mean, I think when we do the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week, I mean, I think we should almost rename it the Payroll Service Solutions Dan Vladar Award of the Week. I mean, the guy won it that many times.
Yeah.
Bundy, like a guy who has traditionally been a backup netminder.
Yeah.
Finally gets his opportunity at age 28. Free agent signing. I don't think anybody thought he was going to be the starter. He wins that job practically out of camp. I mean, he snags that job and doesn't let it go.
They were splitting for a while, though, going into the season.
Yeah, but he got opening night.
And then he got opening night.
He got opening night, but they still split back and forth. I mean, Tocchet was, I thought, really fair to both guys to give them a chance, to come in here without anointing a number one right off the get-go.
Yeah.
But I'm past apologizing for good goaltending. Like, it's part of your team. It's a huge part of your team. And this guy stood tall almost the entire year. I mean, I think I can count on one hand how many bad games he had. It might be less than the amount of fingers I have. He might be 2 or 3 games that he just wasn't at the top of his game the whole year. So no wonder, he won the Bobby Clark Trophy as team MVP. That was a runaway award.
One of the things that we talked about throughout the year is that this team playing in front of Vladar played a little bit stylistically different than Ersson. It was almost as if when Ersson really kind of hit the skids early-ish in the season, it seemed like the team was afraid to make a mistake because they expected the puck to go in their net. Whereas Vladar, maybe they were willing to take a couple more opportunities, a few more risks because they knew that they could rely on him. How big is that mental lift for them going to be going into the playoffs?
Big, because the goaltender gives you the confidence to maybe do an extra thing out there that you weren't thinking of doing before, to make a play. Believe me, when you have a good backbone of your team as your goaltender, it allows you to really up the creativity that you want to play offensively when you do it. That doesn't mean you're going to go make a bonehead play and turn the puck over and send them back 2-on-1. Yep. That doesn't mean that. But it allows you to have a little bit more freedom to know that you got a guy back there that's going to backstop you and you feel confident about it.
Something I kind of want to get into a little bit is how they kind of got here. Mm-hmm. And, we all know we've been saying on this program since they started playing well after the Olympics about, their change in defensive system, their structure, how they've taken away the middle of the ice. Yes, they're getting good goaltending. Yes, they're starting to get a little bit more opportunistic scoring, but it was all about building it off of the defensive posture. And then yesterday, there was an interview. Rick Tocchet did an interview yesterday on RDS. What's RDS? RDS is the French language network in Canada that broadcasts the Montreal Canadiens games. And Tocchet does this interview. And in this interview, he mentions that he got a lot of what they did, a lot of the changes that they made in the second half here after the Olympics, from New York Islanders coach Pete DeBoer. And so a lot of people started wondering, well, how the heck did that happen? So I did a little research into it. I looked into it a little bit today. And it turns out that Tocchet and DeBoer, obviously they were both at the Olympics together, right, as assistant coaches. And they had a really hellacious commute from the Olympic Village to where the hockey arena was. It was not a convenient trip. And so they had a lot of time to talk, on their way over to the arena, on their way back from the arena. They worked out together, like kind of in that near the arena because it was so far to get back to the Olympic Village. And so there was just a lot of downtime hockey talk between these guys. And Rick kind of picked his brain. I remember DeBoer at the time was a free agent. He was not affiliated with any team. He had been fired from the job in Dallas at the end of last year. He had not obviously been hired by the Islanders yet. And so he made some suggestions. And so the suggestions, and it's kind of a hybrid. It wasn't 100% Peter DeBoer, but a lot of it was his, and some of it that Toc put in. And so basically what they did is they're talking about switches and I'm going to turn it to Bundy here because he'd be better explaining this as a guy who's played the game and can kind of talk us through. But talking about transferring the puck in the defensive zone, players switching, forwards being a little bit more aggressive in what areas of the ice to do that, like better to do it at the hash marks out as opposed to down low.
Yeah.
So maybe you could kind of, for the people watching at home and also for all the fans here, kind of talk.
I actually
through.
Actually texted my old teammate Rick Tocchet,
okay,
current coach, just to see what he meant by defense. The way you said defensive transfers, I didn't understand what you were trying to say by that.
Yeah.
But what happens is when the weak side, when a puck goes around the boards to the weak side, what they're doing is that he's darting the winger over to that side to meet that defenseman. And if that puck gets pushed down into the corner again, right, what he wants is an overload. So the defenseman and another forward to get in there. If they're going to have two guys in there, he wants three guys in there.
Got it.
It's a little bit like they call it a swarm in hockey where no matter what, if there's one guy, you got two. If they got two guys, you got three. A lot of teams have done it. Craig Berube did that in St. Louis. He's done it with almost every team he's coached since then. It's become popular. It works a lot in minor league hockey because two guys don't know how to handle the pressure of three guys. Yeah. And then what happens is that the center, if it's a center iceman, what he's doing, he's locking in between the hash marks. So what really got talked midseason was the amount of weak side goals that were going in, and they had to disparage that somehow. So how do you do that? You clog it up. You add an extra layer of an attacking forward to that equation with the defenseman, and then you clog up the middle of the ice. If you saw last night in the game, there was a play that got chipped out into the middle. Montreal would have had a great scoring chance. And I think it was Tyson Forster, maybe Noah Cates got his stick on it and just banged it out of the zone. There was no danger, no harm, no foul. But that's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? When the puck's like on one side and the defenseman fires it around to the other side?
Yeah.
What we're doing is now, sometimes what would happen is the defenseman would go to that guy, right?
Right.
Now the wingers beelining over. The two wingers are taking the rail position, which they're coming across, cutting the ice in half. And that's allowing it's not allowing those easy plays to go weak side and backside where they can really hurt you.
And secondarily with that, because you have the wingers attacking them, a defenseman can stay home.
Yes,
which protects
one guy in front of the net,
which protects the backside.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're really using you've got to trust your forwards to do it,
right?
And they've really got to buy in because there's an old saying in hockey. Defensemen always said it: never trust a forward. I remember Eric Desjardins told me that my first year in the league. He comes up to me, he goes, "I'm going to tell you something right now. Never trust a forward." And I kind of looked and said, "Okay, you got it." But I understood what he was saying. So you got to have everybody really, really buying in. And this Flyers team, since the Olympic break, since they've made those subtle changes, they've really bought in and done a great job defensively.
What a wild thing, though. Pete DeBoer is the one who helps to tweak things, helps this Flyers team.
Then he ends up
and
coaching.
Then months later, he ends up coaching the Islanders, who are in free fall.
Yeah.
And they bring him on thinking, this dude's great at game sevens. We want to have him anyway long term. He'll help to turn this thing around to stem the tide and maybe get us into the playoffs. Meanwhile, poor DeBoer kind of like signed his own death wish.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. But I'll tell you what impresses me about this, and you guys tell me what you think. There are a lot of coaches in sports, just in general, who have a little bit of an ego, right?
No.
Who believe that they have the answers to everything. They can fix everything. They have the solution to everything. It tells me a little bit of something about Rick Tocchet that's impressive, that he looks at it and goes, maybe I don't have the exact answer here. Maybe I don't know. I could try different things and whatever, but let me pick the brains of some other people who do what I do, and maybe I can learn something there that says, you know what, that'll be better for my group than what I would force them to do.
Yeah.
And I think that shows me a little something about Rick as a coach that maybe not a lot of other coaches would do.
Well, there's a bit of humility there.
Yes.
Which is a good thing to come out. Because if you remember, early in the season when there was so much backlash, and even around the Carnival, like, listen, if Rick Tocchet were here, we'd have the same conversation. He stepped in it at the Carnival. Like he said a couple of somewhat boneheaded things that he shouldn't have said. And it kind of fed into a narrative that people had sort of constructed that he was very thick-headed. He wanted to move Michkov from one side to the other. He wasn't willing to be flexible, yada, yada, yada. And then you look at this kind of an instance, right?
Yep.
And that you are effectively humbling yourself in a way by asking for another head coach's opinion. And even though DeBoer didn't have a job at the time, there is a certain amount of humility you have to have. And I think it actually does kind of speak to the character there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and it's probably one that, I know the other thing we know that Rick was the assistant coaches were back here, running the practices. They were practicing for like 10 days before the season resumed, right? But that he was in constant Zoom communication.
Yeah.
So obviously the assistant coaches, they didn't feel like they had their toes stepped on either,
right?
By Rick doing this. So kudos to them as well. Like the whole group working together and saying, hey, listen, we might let's try this. Let's see if this seems to work. So good on all of them. Really.
It's interesting if you think about it, and we need to make sure that we
do
our thing. But Bundy, like typically when you think of a break, whether it was Four Nations before or the Olympic break this year, we typically look at it from the perspective of a player, right? Like a guy who's trying to get healthy, who's not going to the Olympics, gives you the opportunity to kind of get away, recharge. If you're playing in the Olympics, you're kind of continuing to get hyped up, and like maybe there is something to playing with the best that your country has to offer. We never, ever talk about coaches kind of going back to the drawing board. And this to me is like a really interesting standout moment. And again, it's not something that had to happen, but it's something that Tocchet made happen.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Russ, why don't you remind everybody where we're at and what's so awesome about the place that we are at?
We are at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, Pennsylvania, with this great crowd out here. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
We are out here at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington. And listen, we've been talking about it all season. Every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, we have been rocking and rolling with Snow the Goalie here at Chickies and Pete's at one of 17 locations in the greater Philadelphia area. And I'll tell you what, this isn't part of the read. You know where I'm going? I'm going to Arizona tomorrow. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go find Chickies and Pete's at the airport. It's not one that we typically talk about all that much, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing better. You're getting ready to go off on a flight and you're a little bit nervous, you go order some crab fries. And you know what? If you're not at the airport and you're just out here having a fun time, maybe you want to go watch a game, you're not going to make it to Pittsburgh to go see game 1 or 2, you got to Chickies and Pete's. Be surrounded by your fellow Flyers fans. Have the time of your life. There's no better place to go watch a game than at Chickies and Pete's. You can order from a ton of different options on the menu. You get the Bundy.
Yeah.
You can get the Bundy. You get the pizza, 12 cold shrimp,
clam chowder.
Clam chowder. You can get the ant, which has become the. We haven't really given it. We haven't given it a name.
I had something different today.
You didn't get the tailgate burger.
No,
with
I
the crab cake on the burger.
I just had a crab cake sandwich.
And how was that?
Awesome as always.
Like a blast from the past.
It used to be my regular.
Yeah.
It used to be my go-to. I went back. I've done crab cake. I've done the tailgate burger. I've done the fish tacos.
Yeah.
Krabby Sweets. Had them again.
Yeah. Good on you.
Good on you.
You know, you didn't do the thing that you were supposed to do, though. You told me you were going to do that.
I was, but then you were late, so I didn't do it.
So there's a thing that they apparently have called the half and half.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Where
Yeah,
it's half Krabby Sweets and half crab fries.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I figured we'd do that as like a, it's like a meeting of the minds a little bit.
Well, there's always next week because this is not our last show of the season. It may be the last show of the regular season, but we're back. We're back at it.
We just don't know exactly where yet. And the only reason we don't know exactly where the show will be next week is we don't know what the schedule is for the playoffs. Until we do, like if they are playing Wednesday night, we will be in South Philly.
Yep.
Next Wednesday. If they are not playing Wednesday night and playing Thursday night, for example,
hopefully
we'll be at a different Chickies and Pete's location, I think, Marlton. But I can't say that with 100% certainty.
Okay.
But trying to make up for Bundy for all the traveling that he's done this year, make him have it be right outside his back door.
That would be great.
Wow, we're not. Hey, Bundy, we don't have to go to Drexel Hill for the 17th time because it's right outside Anthony's backyard.
Yeah.
So anyway, big thank you to Chickies and Pete's for having us out every week.
Yeah.
Big thank you to the group of people who came out tonight here to Warrington. And listen, if you haven't come out this year, don't forget next Wednesday we'll let you know where. Come on out, talk some puck.
So you're going to Arizona tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're leaving poor old fourth host Nancy by herself again.
I am. She's over there.
Yeah.
The rock star, Nancy.
The saint of our family.
She absolutely is. With as much as traveling as you're doing these days.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware of next week, Denver. I'm aware of what's happening next week in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Guys, I heard a little rumor.
What's that?
I heard the first game Sunday.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. That's just a rumor I heard. Good source. Not great, but good.
That would change everything. Oh, man, that would change
everything. So if in that, all right, let's play that one out for a second. Sunday, it'd be Sunday, Tuesday, game 1 and 2.
It'll be Sunday, Tuesday.
Yeah, and then you would skip Wednesday, maybe game 1 Thursday.
Game 3 Thursday.
Game 3 Thursday, and then that would mean game 4 would probably be Saturday, except there's a Florence in the machine.
Yeah.
Or, depending on how the Sixers game goes against the Celtics, that could be a playoff game on a Saturday. I feel confident in one thing. Florence and her machine are going to have to go somewhere else next Saturday.
They may not.
I mean,
I'm telling you.
How are you going to put...
Things are getting crazy around down there. Nobody knows anything. This thing is ever changing.
I was hoping it was Saturday. I have a friend with the league that's got a friend in the league, and he's thinking it's Sunday.
Okay.
I mean, you heard what Dan Hilferty said on our show last night.
He did say he was hoping for Thursday for game 3.
No, but he said Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
Yeah.
This would blow that out of the
That would
water.
also be kind of weird, though, to have two full days off in between.
Well, that's
game
happened. That's happened.
Yeah, but if you go from a Monday to a Thursday, it just feels like a long gap.
It does, but it happens. That's mostly for TV. But this would be for building reasons.
But
and keep in mind, the other thing that's an interesting thing that we're not even discussing.
Yeah.
You can't go back to Pittsburgh too early because the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh the following weekend.
So maybe that's why it would actually make sense for the series to have a late start.
Maybe that ties into it. I don't know.
Because the NFL draft's kind of a big deal. A lot of people go there.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
So, Bundy, out of curiosity, is there a day that as a player you have in your mind is the day that you get up for the most? Like Wednesday night is Wednesday night rivalry, nationally televised game. But as a player, when you're going into the playoffs, is there any of that still in your mind?
No,
it's all out the window because playoffs are playoffs.
It doesn't matter. You're so jacked up no matter what time or where the game is that it doesn't matter. You're just excited to play hockey, playoff hockey.
How does your routine change?
Nothing. It doesn't.
Nothing does.
No, just the intensity of the day becomes magnified. So what you'll do is, as a player, you'll really build up emotionally, physically for that game that night. And then what will happen is you'll crash right after that. It'll come down again. It'll stay down for that day off a little bit. You start ramping it up for practice if you have something. And then you go back into that cycle again where you start teeing it up again for the next night, 2 nights later.
So would you compare the first playoff game a guy's going to play, regardless of if it's a young guy or in the case of Risto, he's played over 800 games.
Right.
He's going to play his first playoff game. Do you compare that kind of feeling, that adrenaline rush and everything, and then eventually the crash after? Do you compare that to playing in your first NHL game?
Yeah, I would think so a little bit. Yeah, the emotion that goes into it, especially for your first playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair comparison. Yeah. I would call that a fair comparison for sure.
All right, let's get this one out of the way since we know it's going to be quick and easy.
Out of the way.
Yeah, well, it's quick and easy tonight.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need quick and easy.
Sometimes you do.
If you got a business.
It's time now for the Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. It's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Russ, you already put it out there.
Did I?
That Dan Vladar should be the Player of the Week. Is there anybody else that we would even think about at this point?
No, he's been that good again.
Yeah. I mean, really has been.
I mean, you had to rock and roll with him.
And we make it, and this makes up for our buddy Adam Kimmelman not making him a star on Monday night, right? Like, this makes up for that, right? I mean, come on now.
Dan Vladar was disrespected twice this year. That was one.
Jackie was the other
Jackie
one,
Spiegel leaving him off,
right?
You know,
I mean, Mike the organist is who is here. He would agree with us, right?
Mike the organist gets a round of applause. That's right. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Mike. But no, I think very clearly. I think it's not just for this week, although they had to ride him this past week.
Yeah,
I mean, we were kind of talking about like when you play Harrison. And, you know.
I can almost guarantee you that if they would have lost Monday, Vladar would have played last night.
You think so, huh?
Yes, they would not have let the season ride on Sam Ersson, even though he had a good game.
Yeah. It's a great they won Monday. He gave a lot of guys a big opportunity to get rest last night. I know people say, it's only one game. That's a lot.
That's huge.
It's a big rest. Yeah,
that's huge.
Come on, Bundy. Those guys were banged up and injured.
All the guys that were scratched.
Right.
Yeah,
they were all scratched because they were dealing with injuries.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's why the Flyers were able to call up 6 guys on emergency recall.
Right.
Come on, that wasn't a day off. It wasn't load management. That was real injury.
There's no load management.
Come on now.
Come on. Not in this sport.
Everybody does it.
But no, Vladar easily has to be the player of the week. And you know what? He's the player of the year for this team. He's the most important player on this team. He's the most surprising player of the year. He's been absolutely nothing short of incredible.
And he's a great guy on top of that.
He just seems like a genuinely good
super
human being.
good guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you have like somebody else you wanted to pitch?
No. I mean, the only other name you could think of is Martone, right? Because he kept the point streak going. You know, even yesterday, has another assist yesterday. Big play on the bump goal. 7-game point streak. Intern Andrew gave us that stat of the night last night about him. So that was the only other one you can even go, maybe go Martone. But no, I think it's Vladar.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was easy.
That solves that.
That was quick and easy.
Dan Vladar is once again your Payroll Service Solutions Player of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Hey, by the way, little note that got sent to me.
Okay.
Bundy's got a little news. I've got a little something for you. Per Daily Face-Off Live.
Okay.
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, I saw this.
Executive search. Chuck Fletcher's name has started to be bandied about as a potential new general manager for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Holy smoke.
I got good news. I got really good news.
I think they think it's Cliff Fletcher.
That's right.
We should all hope Chuck Fletcher lands with Toronto. You know why?
I
bet you Danny Briere still has access to that trade app that Chuck used to talk about. And maybe he can lower the value.
Lower the value of
Austin Matthews trade.
Yeah. Yeah. How about that?
If Chuck Fletcher gets hired in Toronto, it will be the smoking gun of proof that this league is just in love with retread hires.
It's unbelievable.
There is nothing that he accomplished in Philadelphia that should be deserving of another opportunity in this league. Not a thing.
When I saw that, I was like, you kidding me? There's got to be a joke, right? There's got to be somebody who just
literally the only person who thinks Chuck Fletcher did a good job was Kevin Hayes, because Kevin Hayes got paid a lot of money, to be a not so good player.
Yeah.
So, man,
kind of crazy.
All the best to Chuck Fletcher. Remember he came on the show during COVID, right? Fletcher came on the show with us,
Yes.
And he talked about getting in a fight in like middle school or something.
It was pre-COVID, I believe.
Something like that.
It's just before COVID.
Yeah.
It was their good year.
Yeah.
It was during their good year.
We had him virtually though.
Yeah. But it was.
He talked about like getting in a fight in middle school or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, Chuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Tough guy.
Tough guy.
Yeah. Tough guy.
Anyway.
So.
Well, that's fun. Chuck Fletcher resurfacing in this league would be something.
Yeah.
I wanted to take us to one of the biggest stories. And I don't know when
trades are hard.
Trades are hard. I don't know what the deal was with the.
We were supposed to have Joe.
So we'll
Joe Amade was supposed to be stopping by.
Okay. Let me know if you get an update.
Yeah.
That's Joe right there.
Oh, he's behind us. I didn't even realize he was here. Come on over, Joe.
Gosh.
Come on over, Joe.
Where do you want me to put Joe?
SanFilippo is on
I
fire.
think Chris is going to angle the camera a little bit. Yeah, sit right there. Sit right there.
How are you, sir?
There we go.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I didn't. I swear, Joe, I didn't even see that you had come in.
He's been on screen the entire time. He's been. Yeah. You've been back there. If you picked your nose at any point, I got bad news for you.
Use the handheld mic.
You got a lot of people who've seen it.
Yeah. Is that up yet, Chris, or no? Yeah, he's going to turn your mic on just a second.
Right,
okay. So anyway, so this is Joe Amade. He is got a brand new documentary coming out. Okay, called Cold War in Philly. Now this is done full support of the National Hockey League, the Philadelphia Flyers. Comcast is all behind this. It's an 80-minute documentary that's going through the infamous 1976 Flyers Soviet Union game against the Russian Red Army team. The first question, I want to tell everybody when it's premiering, because it's coming out, I believe, May 27th.
May 27th. Yeah, I'm here to talk about my movie, but my God, just listen to you guys talk about these playoffs coming up. It's so hard to concentrate on anything else.
You're right, exactly.
I mean, you guys are doing such a great job of getting everybody excited, but we've been waiting and living this for years.
I know.
Years, and it's so exciting that it's happening. This team is just incredible.
That's awesome. So May 27th, Suzanne Roberts Theater.
May 27th, Suzanne Roberts Theater is the premiere. The following night, it'll play at the Philadelphia Film Center on Chestnut Street, and then it'll play some theaters all around the Delaware Valley, like the county up here in Doylestown, and a whole bunch of other theaters too.
Awesome.
Great.
So tell me a little bit, first of all, how did this come together?
So Cold War in Philly is about the very famous or infamous Russian Red Army game that we played in January of '76. I don't know how many people out there remember that game, but it was pretty controversial. 11 minutes into the game, Ed Van Imp puts a hit on one of the Russians. He goes down. There's no penalty called, and the Russians walk off the ice. Quit the game. 250 million people were watching this game worldwide, and it took Ed Snyder and a couple other people coming up with a great idea to get them back on the ice, and that was, well, we just don't pay them. And they ended up coming back on the ice, and the Broad Street Bullies put a shellacking on the Russian team, and the rest is history. So I grew up here in Philadelphia, being a Philadelphia Flyers fan since the days of the Cup. I witnessed and lived through what that team brought to the city of Philadelphia, the pride, the passion, the love of this scrapey group of guys, middle-class guys, working their butts off to bring us a championship. It's been 50 years. They're all getting a little bit older. In fact, they're all getting a lot older. So I came up with the idea. I wanted to make a film that paid tribute to this group of players, these Broad Street Bullies, one more time. That way, when they're gone and when we're all gone, the film will still exist for their grandkids and their great-grandkids to see what these guys are like.
Yeah.
So with the help of Brad Marsh, I was able to interview all of the living players over the past couple of years, with the exception of Mel Birchman. But I got everybody. I got Ed Van Imp. I flew out to Vancouver Island. I flew up to Manitoulin Island to get Reggie Leach, and I got everybody. Everybody's in the film, and they all talk about the game. And it's kind of a love letter to this team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is totally awesome.
One of the big things lost in it, and I remember hearing about this game since I was 7 years old. My dad told me. And I remember he used to tell me that Clarence Campbell should be indebted to the Philadelphia Flyers forever for winning that game, because it was a real problem that year, right? The Russians went through the NHL.
The Russians went through the NHL. They beat everybody. The Red Army beat everybody, and they beat them good.
Yes.
They didn't beat them by one. And the only game they tied was Montreal. So they came in
3-3 on New Year's Eve.
3-3 on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So they came into the Spectrum, and the league, the fans, everybody was supporting the Flyers. It was the one day in our history that people all across the country loved the Philadelphia Flyers. It is said more than once in the documentary by the players and by the fans. They loved us that day, and then the next day they went back to hating us again.
That's pretty cool.
But Campbell in particular, he came into the locker room and the players just didn't even want to talk to him.
The one thing I wanted to ask about, so we've seen the story many times over the years, but I think one of the things that's really kind of important from that ties into this is, and you were kind of talking about the whole country rooting for the Flyers, is the climate, the political climate of that time, right? I'm sure you guys kind of tell that story as well to kind of shape it, especially for an audience of people like Russ's age who would have no idea what the heck was going on in this country in 1976.
Yeah, the Cold War. I mean, the Cold War was still going. It was still pretty strong out there. So we hated the Russians.
Yeah.
And Ed Snyder in particular, not to get political, and we do deal with this in the film, but he was part of a group of people called the Refuseniks that helped Jews escape from Russia because they couldn't leave.
Right.
So he was very involved in the political spectrum of this film. So therefore, if he hated the Russians, the team hated the Russians. So we hated the Russians.
Right.
Almost as much as we hate the Russian government now.
Right.
So going into this game, it was more than a game. It was up to the Flyers to restore the pride of the NHL.
And it kind of set the stage for what happened 4 years later.
And it set the stage. And
right.
And it's funny because we've all seen the documentaries and the movie Miracle, about the 80 Olympics, but nobody really says we beat the same team 4 years earlier.
Right.
We did.
That's true.
We beat the same team, and nobody ever acknowledges that.
Yeah.
In the making of the film, I'm sure you went into it with an idea of who you thought would be the best talkers, who were going to give you the most. Was there somebody who surprised you? Someone that you didn't have maybe the highest expectations for, didn't expect to kind of shine through, but ended up being critical?
Probably Ed Van Impe.
Okay.
He was the oldest, and his recollections. He probably had the most comical lines, pretty anti-Russian lines. I mean, not anti-Russian lines, but just funny. Funny. Like the famous line. I think his face hit my elbow or something like that. But everybody has asked me this question. You interviewed them all. These are heroes. They're all heroes of us here in Philadelphia. And who were the ones that weren't that nice to interview? Everybody's asked me that. And across the board, there's nobody. Every single player was incredible to sit with. Larry Goodenough cooked us sausages. I spent the whole day at the Van Imps. I spent 4 hours with Bernie. Bernie didn't play the game, but I wanted to get Bernie on film to talk about Wayne Stevenson, because Stevenson played the game. So I needed somebody, a goalie to talk about another goalie. So he invited us down to his house, and we spent 4 hours with him, and he was great. So every single person was more than a dream. It was more like a dream come true. Even Bobby Clark, who I was probably the most nervous to interview, within seconds. What I miss?
No. Just
within.
He's quite the guy. He's quite the character.
Yeah. And every one of them had stories. This all started at a Philadelphia alumni golf tournament that I was invited to by my cousin, who, by the way, owns Payroll Solutions.
There we go.
Wow.
There's your tie, right?
Who I love the plug.
Dan Maggiani?
Danny's my cousin.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
Danny's my cousin. And Danny's son,
Tim, yeah.
He's my partner.
Yes.
In the business.
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with Oris Kendrachuk, and Ukraine had just been invaded, and we started talking about it, and Oris had family in Ukraine, and I said, do you wish you were playing the Russians, this week? And Oris said, yes. He added a couple other words to that, and a light bulb went on in my head, and I ended up talking to Paul Holmgren that night about the same subject, and he thought it was a good idea. And from that moment on, it took about 9 months to get contracts going with the team, with the league, with everybody to enable me to make the film. But telling the story of us beating the Russians is a sidebar to me. Again, I wanted to get these players on film one more time, just so that document is there. So it's there. It's the last time.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Once again, it'll be at Suzanne Roberts Theater on May the 27th. Philadelphia Film Center, 14th and Chestnut, May 28th. And then I think the first one you said in Bucks County, Newtown Theater, right?
Newtown Theater is going to play. Best way I can tell everybody is to get tickets, just go to coldwarinphilly.com and everything is there, or go to the alumni website.
Is this planned on being streamed after on one of the sites?
Sooner or later, probably in midsummer, you'll be able to find it on Amazon and all those other sites as well.
Great.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Well,
Great
Joe,
stuff.
thank you.
Appreciate
you once again.
Thank you so much.
Let's go Flyers.
Yes. Really cool. Really cool.
Very cool.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. All right. Do you want to dive into, since there will be games played before we all reconvene again, do you want to kind of dive into a prediction for the series?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can.
Yeah, I mean, we got.
Well, I wanted to get to one other storyline before we got to the predictions. So, for the people who haven't been keeping up with the team this year, and there are some, and listen, there are people.
There's a lot of casual fans hopping on board right now,
which, by the way, is fine.
Totally.
The people, and I don't think it's as bad as sports radio makes it sound.
No, don't listen to sports.
There's a
that's your first.
Says the guys were like
that's your first mistake listening to sports radio.
If you're new and you haven't been keeping up with the team, I think from a 10,000-foot view, this is a perfect clash between a team that is youthful, exuberant, and inexperienced in the playoffs, going up against a team that is led by a trio of players who are very much at the end of their careers and yet still performing at a very high level.
You're forgetting Erik Karlsson. I mean, he wasn't part of them back then.
I considered the three.
But he's a probable Hall of Famer.
Yeah. But you have youth and inexperience against this kind of like wily veteran team.
Yeah.
At what point will we know, Bundy, in this series, whether or not the youth is something that can be overcome or not?
You'll know in the first game. You get a pretty good indication after the first period when the nerves have settled and everything.
Yeah.
And you get to see what kind of a game it is. You'll get an indication, I think, very clearly and very quick.
So sort of like what we saw in the Carolina game.
A little bit.
Where you're trying to fight off those nerves and find your game.
Yeah, and again, Flyers in the Carolina game, the beginning of the game, they're coming off that road trip. Every team that comes back off a road trip has a sluggish start at home, and the Flyers went through that. I never felt like they were ever in trouble in that game, though. It's really funny. I felt like they were going to win that game somehow, some way against Carolina Monday night.
When do you think we'll know?
I'm not certain it'll be that quick, because I do think that there is a potential for this team to go, oh, crap, we're in the playoffs now, and it's a little bit different. But because they have been so good at adjusting and being resilient, that you see, can they bounce back from something that maybe catches them off guard? If they can't, I think that's when you'll know, okay, they're not ready for prime time. Or if they can, then you can sit there and go, yeah, this team's not going away easy, right? So I think and it could be that first period, and then they come back the second period and have a great second period. Or they come back the second period and they get their doors blown off, right? Yeah. And then you kind of have to figure that out from that point. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that there will be a time, though, where we know, and it won't be at the end of the series, it'll be earlier in the series. There will be a time when we know if this team is going to be able to make this a longer series or even potentially win this series.
Bundy, obviously, if you're Rick Tocchet, you're this coaching staff, you're thrilled with the contributions you've gotten from younger guys.
Sure.
Barkey's had a great run. Martone, Michkov. Bump has been impactful in games that he's been in. Forster, huge, coming back when he did.
Yeah.
As the head coach, do you have that side conversation with the vets on the team that, the expectations for those guys is probably even higher at this point?
I don't know if you need to have a conversation with them. I think that's kind of understood.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are driving the bus now. It looks like that. to me, the younger guys have taken a full hold of this team and understand their responsibility. So I really feel like they're going to be ready going into game one. I do. Maybe people doubt that, but I don't. I think Rick Tocchet's going to have this team ready to go in game one and be settled in for the series.
And they've played their best hockey on the road.
Yeah.
Like, keep that in mind too.
They have.
They're not going to be intimidated by a crowd or, the only thing that, to me, like I said, is the game does go to yet another level. Even though they've been playing at this pretty high level now for several weeks, it just goes to another level when you get to the playoffs, and you got to wonder, like, do they need a moment to kind of figure that out?
Yeah, and we'll see.
Right?
They might. Yeah, they may be an adjustment period, but I do think they're going to be prepared to understand what they're going to see.
Or maybe the Montreal game kind of plays out again, and maybe this young team goes into Pittsburgh and they smack them. Well, like just kind of out of nowhere, and they get up early, and now Pittsburgh is almost on their back foot. Like, wow, hold on. Like, the one
thing that gives me a lot of hope, though, and optimism is the way they're playing defensively.
Yeah.
If you can play good defense in the playoff, you'll give yourself a chance every night to win that hockey game.
And as D Flyers just put that comment up about Martone, but you could say that about the whole team. In all honesty, he said Martone doesn't know what he doesn't know. Well, the whole team, really doesn't know what they don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. They just don't.
Right. He's just playing right now.
Right. They're all just playing,
Yep.
and other than Glendening, Couturier, I think the top four guys in playoff experience are Glendening, Couturier, Hathaway, and Dvorak.
Right.
Like, everybody else, like all the guys that are scoring, they've not been there. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that could be a thing too, right?
And maybe the carte blanche that you get in the playoffs takes a level of the self-expectation off of some of the vets who maybe didn't light the lamp as much as you would expect them to.
Yeah.
And even for the guys like Tippett for a long time was carrying the team. It felt like he kind of settled in, maybe cooled off a little bit over the last week and a half. Maybe that kind of gives him that recharge. All right.
Yeah.
We're starting again. We're starting over from zero. So with all of that in mind, guys, let's talk about what we think is going to happen between now and next week. Very likely they will have only played 2 games and will be preparing for either the same night or the next night, game 3 back in Philly. Dan Hilferty on the show yesterday, pregame, said that his prediction was it would be 1-1 coming back for game 3.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a fair assessment. I mean,
it's probably
that would be a really successful 2-game trip to Pittsburgh for sure. If you come home with home ice advantage after 2 games in Pitt, that's a win-win.
I think he's probably right.
Yeah.
I think it's 1-1 after 2. Yeah. I'm not sure which one. Look, I think it would be more telling to me if they win game 1. If they win game 1, I really like them in the series. Like, I really like them in the series if they win game 1. I don't expect them to win game 1, but I do expect them to win game 2. Like, I think that they will split as well in Pittsburgh. The challenge will be, can you be a better team on home ice than you were during the regular season, which is like, it's the one thing that doesn't make sense to me, that they were a better road team than a home team. And I guess you could sit there and say, well, you get away from the distractions. You're more together on the road. It's just you guys against the world. There's a bonding kind of with that kind of thing. Sure, we could go into all of those intangibles, as it were, and maybe there is something to that. But I think that they're going to need to find a way to play well in front of the home crowd, because I'll tell you, game 3. That crowd for game 3 is going to be the best crowd in that arena in
a long time.
15 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah, it's going to be electric. Pittsburgh coming in.
It's going to
playoffs.
Be wild. Since the oh, here we go. Look, Mr. Pittsburgh fan in the building.
And Andrew,
he's actually wearing a Pittsburgh Pirates Andrew McCutcheon jersey. Pittsburgh in 5 is his prediction.
Pittsburgh in 5. We'll make sure that happens.
And
you don't have any.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing goaltending doesn't matter.
The goaltending doesn't matter.
Hey, do me a favor. Start filling out the AARP card for Sydney. All right? Can you do that?
Hey,
fill that one out.
Go have another Iron City on me. There you go. Yeah. That was fun.
The guy came in here, right? He sat here for 10 minutes, didn't say a word. Then he comes off and lips off as he's got his like McCutcheon jersey from 22 years ago.
Somebody's got to play the heel. Somebody's got to play the heel. I did appreciate the strut though. That was a very good heel strut he had going on there.
He had a very, very, it was a very good heel strut going out the door there.
He didn't quite go the Conor
How are
McGregor
you
like
proudly wearing a Pittsburgh Pirates jersey?
I think that's actually pretty gutsy. I'm going to give the guy a little bit of credit. I will.
I mean, I like
Andrew McCutcheon. Good dude.
Good player,
dude.
really good player.
Good dude.
But that's all that they've had.
Look, we're extending brotherly love.
Yeah, that's great. By the way, did you see the thing in the radio in Pittsburgh today?
Yes.
Where they, first of all, they couldn't pronounce Trevor Zegras' name properly.
It's very difficult.
They called him Zegras, Trevor Zegras.
Zegras.
But they were trying to determine which players they were going to hate the most.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they came up with?
No.
Garnet Hathaway.
He plays 9 or 10 minutes a day.
Tell me you don't watch hockey without telling me you don't watch hockey. How can you sit there and go, yeah, that's the guy that the Penguins fans have to have their eyes set on?
They would actually, if they were really intelligent, they would have said someone like Martone, right?
Yes.
Go after the young guy, make his life miserable, right?
Yes.
So they're going after Hathaway, who won't care one little bit.
Oh, man. So, anyway. So, yeah, no, I think.
I can I pitch you on the idea that that they go on the road and they shock us all and they come back up 2-0. I think that there is a chance. I'm not saying I would not put money on it, but I think that there is a chance that one of these games, maybe even game 1, they catch Pittsburgh off guard. And then game 2, the pressure really starts to sink in. And even though Pittsburgh's this very experienced team, maybe it happens. And then we start to have a very serious conversation about, all right, like, you don't want to start looking ahead at that point, but you go, okay, like maybe there really is something to being hot and having the superior goaltender. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, sure, Russ. And if that's the case, where everybody's a lot happier next week. Everybody's even more fired up. There's even bigger buzz in the city than there is right now for this team. That would be awesome for the city. Is that Billy from South Philly over there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like Crosby's my uncle.
Yeah, Crosby's my uncle.
Oh,
I tend to agree with the comment on the screen.
With the Lunacara?
That Dan Vladar will be the difference maker in the series.
He could be. Yeah, he could be for sure. I think that's the difference. And special teams, you've got to keep Pittsburgh out of the box or keep the Penguins off the power play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where I think Crosby and guys like Malkin, Letang, Carlson are going to find their mojo is on the special teams on the power play, and you can't give them a lot of extended chances to get on.
Yeah.
I think their power play was better than 30% this year.
Yeah.
It was for a long period.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. I don't have the stat right in front of me.
It was their power play finished the season. I think they were 7th in the league. They finished at 24.1%.
Okay.
But it was 7th best in the league. And the gap, like 4th, I think is like 0.8 or something like that. So it's
yeah.
No,
they're
really good.
It's really good. You have to stay disciplined in this series.
I think we need to make a pact though.
We have to make a pact.
I do.
Okay.
I think that every Flyers fan has to make a pact. We are going to live and die with every game. We're going to live and die with game 1 and game 2. The one thing that I want everybody to remember is that this was not supposed to happen. This was not something that we expected to happen. If this young team goes on the road and they just have a terrible showing for 2 games, don't then turn game 3 into a hostile environment for those guys. All right. You got to try to stem the tide, turn the momentum back around. That's what I'm thinking, And regardless of how the season plays out, I want to see this fan base enjoy that playoff run. It's been so long since it's happened, almost 8 years since fans have gotten to go into the Xfinity Mobile Arena and enjoy playoff hockey. So no matter what happens, let's all make a pact that we're going to enjoy it.
It's house money.
Yep.
It's house money at this point. You've already got your money back. You put up your money. Your chips went in. You won the hand. You got a little bit of extra money now, and you're going to play that. You put your money back in your pocket. You're walking home with that guaranteed, and you're playing with a little extra now and see if you can't, make a little bit of something out of that. That's what this is.
By the way, we've been talking about shaving intern Andrew's head.
Yeah.
But I like Steven's idea over on YouTube. Shave video guy Amadeo's beard if they sweep the Penguins.
How come you didn't put up the one where the guy said you shave your head?
Where? I got a big ugly head. You don't want to see
as
that.
Soon as
I would shave Andrew's head, but I'm going to be honest with you. One of the big things getting in the way of it is if I shave it right there where he sits, you got hair all over Mike's organ. Yep. You got to have the cleaning crew come over and sweep it, right? Now, I don't want to do that.
The last thing you want is hair on Mike's organ.
That's exactly right.
Right?
or on Mike.
Or on Mike. You know.
On Mike, right. That's exactly right.
I'm just trying to remember really quickly if we had any more issues down at the organ this year.
No, well, we might have, but I want to circle back to one thing.
What?
I thought it was very funny, and I may have been the only person in the room to notice.
What?
As soon as I said, pull up the comment of you shave your head,
yeah,
I caught your wife's eye, and she took a big swig of a beer. Like, oh my God, no.
Look at her chug that thing.
No, ain't happening. I got a massive dome. It would look pretty bad. Like this guy over here looks great with the head shaved.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Me? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, there you go.
This guy over here, yeah, you see it. Some people can pull it. I can't. I can't do it. No way.
For sure.
Absolutely not.
For sure. So, anyway.
All right, so let's all make a pact. We're going to enjoy the playoffs.
Yes.
Maybe the Flyers win. Maybe the Pittsburgh Penguins will win. I mean, I hope not, but maybe. You never know. But we're going to have fun. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have fun with some playoff hockey. All right. So a big thank you to everybody who joined us.
We didn't do the picks.
Oh, geez, we didn't. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm going to play the Eternal Optimist. I'll pull a psycho thing. I think the Flyers shock Pittsburgh in game 1, and then the pressure kind of kicks in on game 2. I think they're probably going to split it, but I will be the one who says...
You're not going to go give us a full series prediction here?
Oh, you want a serious prediction?
Yeah.
I think the Flyers win this in 5.
5?
Wow.
5. Yep.
I think that this series goes 7 games.
7 would be fun. I actually do like a 7-game series
I think
better.
the series goes 7 games, and I think that the Flyers pull it out on the road in Pittsburgh, game 7 in 2 weeks, and then we're talking about Carolina after that.
Oh, God. Bundy?
Yeah, I sound like a homer here, but I just think Philadelphia, the way they played the last 2 months, the youth that they've infused into the lineup with Martone, Forster back in the lineup, defensively how their system has really been cooking. I think the Flyers win this series, and I think they do it in 6 games.
There you go.
I'm going to be really fast. You know what I think will tell us a lot? You know, we're thinking about like the inexperience, the youth, and all that of the Flyers. I want to see what Stuart Skinner looks like playing for a different team in the playoffs, because he caught a lot of flack in Edmonton, and I think a lot of it was deserved. But if it doesn't go well for him to start, all of a sudden, an already kind of shaky situation there. And
he's not exactly the kind of goalie that can come in and go, I just went to back-to-back finals. I got my team to back-to-back finals. That's not how it went.
Yeah.
His team carried him there, and he wasn't able to make enough saves in the finals for them to win.
Since we only have a minute left, my Stanley Cup final prediction is Tampa and Colorado.
Yeah, that would be a pretty logical guess.
Oh, we're jumping all the way ahead to that now.
Well, I got to throw it out before the playoffs start. So
Carolina's impressive. I've written them off in the years past, but I think that their window might be more open this year than it's been before.
Yeah, I agree, but I think Tampa's got the experience and they're gonna win it, and I think that they might actually win the whole thing. So that's my pick, Tampa.
Okay,
so there you go.
All right,
I don't want to end on a downer because it's not really a downer for the Flyers. It's just you could get to the conference finals and lose that, right? Whatever.
Conference finals, good God! All right, well, a big thank you to everybody who joined us tonight at Chickies and Pizza in Warrington. Don't forget, we will be back next Wednesday. We don't know which Chickies and Pizza, but we'll be back next Wednesday as we prepare either that night for Game 3 or maybe the next night for Game 3. But everybody enjoy the playoff hockey. Don't forget, you can find the show on YouTube, Facebook, and X, and wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. For Bundy, for Ant, for Chris on the ones and twos, for intern Andrew, and for all the wonderful people out here in Warrington, Pennsylvania.
Nancy Joy coming out. Billy from South Philly. We got everybody. It's a great day.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to Snow the Goalie. Talk to all of you very